All right. Well, good morning. I guess it still is. Thanks for joining us. I'm Josh Geballe. I'm the commissioner of DAS. Yeah, come on up.
Thanks.
So we thought it would be appropriate to come to InfoShred this morning to talk about some of our efforts to shred red tape in the state and make the state more efficient. And so, like the governor, I come from the private sector. I've been an executive at a couple Fortune 500 companies, was a CEO of a small business in Connecticut as well, as was the governor. And I can tell you that now 2 months in this job, I am incredibly excited about the opportunities that we have in Connecticut to bring private sector best practices to bear to help our state become more efficient and more responsive to the needs of the business community. And that's good news because I think this is an important time for that type of effort. It's not always the most sexy topic, but it's critically important as we embark on a debt diet to try to get our long-term liabilities better under control as we look at a large budget deficit and try to find ways to become more efficient and mitigate the need for new sources of revenue. So that's why we're here to talk about a couple examples of things that we're doing, and I'll give you two brief ones. First of all, as an external example, the state, as you probably know, is a big customer for a lot of businesses in this state, including InfoShred. We buy billions of dollars every year of goods and services to provide the services to our citizens that they count on. And so we have a large procurement organization that we operate. And there are definitely things that we can do to make that procurement operation more efficient and to subject business owners who want to do business with us to less administrivia and red tape and bureaucracy. And so one of the things that we're doing is we have a bill in the legislature currently, House Bill 7385, which takes some small initial steps to simplify that process so that business owners like Stacy and her team have less paperwork to process. So this bill will take a number of affidavits that have been built up over the years that have to be separately printed, filled out, notarized, scanned, uploaded, and then our staff has to process them, make sure nothing's missing. And basically, we're going to consolidate those forms all into the main contract. And when that bill hopefully passes the legislature and is signed by the governor, we'll immediately eliminate 90,000 forms that businesses have to complete each year to do business with the state. And that's important because of the time that we give back to the small businesses that want to bid. It's also important because we make the process of bidding on state work less kind of intimidating or off-putting to a lot of businesses. I've spoken to a lot of business owners who won't bid on state work because they go on our portal and they see all the forms they have to fill out and they say it's just not worth it. So by simplifying this process, we can get more people participating, and that's good for everyone involved. So thank you, Stacy, for having us here today, and that's one kind of external example. Another internal example in terms of what we're doing in the state, as the governor's talked about many times, we see great opportunity to bring efficiency to how we run the state operations by consolidating some of the business functions that we have, which are currently very federated in each of the state agencies. So we're deep into the planning process now of looking at some of those business functions and areas where we can start to bring functions together that helps us build up critical mass that's kind of been brought down over the years as the state workforce has declined. Build up that critical mass, get more process efficiency, get leaner, help reduce cost, and provide actually better service to the commissioners and the leaders of the other state agencies that count on us to provide services. So those types of initiatives take a lot of advanced planning. We're deep into that process now with great collaboration from the other commissioners, and you can expect a series of announcements in the coming months as we start to roll out some of those additional initiatives. So two quick examples. I think there's several more mentioned in the press release that we've put out, dozens more that we're working on internally that will be coming out in the coming months. But one of the other things we wanted to do today was pick up on an observation that the governor and I have both had as we've been meeting with state employees, we've been meeting with businesses and citizens around the state, is that a lot of the best ideas about how to streamline our operations and where the biggest pain points are in terms of interacting with the state actually come from the people out on the front lines, the people experiencing that pain every day. And so we want to facilitate more input directly from the public. And so one of the things we're doing is we're encouraging everyone in the state, our employees in state government, which we're talking to, but also businesses, citizens, to use the hashtag #CutRedTapeCT and post their ideas online. We're going to be monitoring that hashtag on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn for the next month, and we're looking for everybody's good ideas. If people would prefer to submit ideas more privately, We've also created an email address that they can send into, which is cutredtapect@ct.gov. Both of those, the hashtag and the email address, are in the press release. But we'd love people to submit their ideas. Obviously, we won't be able to do everything that comes in. A lot of the regulations and rules that are out there exist for very important and legitimate reasons. But we're excited to get more ideas from the front lines, and hopeful that we can find some great ideas in there that we can implement and execute. And we're planning to take several of the best ones that come in and invite those people actually to come to the Capitol to meet with the governor and key commissioners to talk more about their ideas. So thanks for being here, and I'm delighted to introduce our host, Stacy from InfoShred.
Thank you. Well, I just want to thank everyone for being here today, and we as a business really appreciate the efficiencies the state of Connecticut purchasing process has afforded us, because then we can now focus on our business and putting more energy and focus into what we do. So I thank you very much for Governor Lamont visiting today. Thank you.
Thanks, Stacey. I love companies like this. You know, female-led, you know the names of all 48 of the folks that work for you. You know their families. You care about them. You've doubled in size in the last 5+ years. As Josh said, you get your best ideas from your customers. You mentioned that your dad was maybe in the trash hauling business some years ago, and it was somebody that said, hey, what can I do with these documents? Stacy was a little conflicted when Josh was talking about how we're going to take a lot of paperwork out of the state government, because that's called business. But everything evolves. And these are the type of companies that, you know, we're here to champion. And I also love being here with Josh, because he gives you an idea of what we're trying to do with state government. I mean, of the 10,000 different transactions we have, you know, we the citizens have with our government, almost all of them are paper-driven. And, you know, over time, Josh is moving all that online. What that means in terms of savings, what that means in terms of customer service, what that means in terms of what your government's going to look like in 5 and 10 years is enormous. And Stacey's paying attention, because her business is going to evolve just as our state government evolves. Yeah, but this is what we owe the taxpayers, to let them know that we're doing everything we can to deliver a quality service at the lowest cost. And we've got to bring our government into the 21st century. We're still a Sears Roebuck government, and we're going to move toward an Amazon government where more is done online. And InfoShred will be part of that process going forward.
Well,
so thank you, everybody. Anything else? Or
yeah,
Bob, would you like to say something?
I just want to say how much we appreciated through the purchasing process, just the collaboration and the transparency, and very communicative with all of the agents that we worked with at the state of Connecticut. And we really appreciate that, because it helps to move the process forward. So thank you very much for everybody being here today.
I'll just say I want to welcome Governor Lamont to East Windsor, and we're proud of East Windsor, and we're proud of our industrial park, and we're proud of what Stacey's done with InfoShred. So just welcome to our town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Josh? I was going to say, Stacey, can you describe one of the contracts that we have with the state?
We are the contractor for document shredding services for the state of Connecticut.
Okay. For all state agencies?
Yes, yep, and municipalities, yes.
And how long have you had that contract?
We've had it for, we just got an extension on it. We've had it for quite a few years.
Good customer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And what kind of volume are we talking? How do you quantify this for us? How much work you do?
Well, it depends, because it depends on if the state agency wants to utilize the service. Not all of them utilize the
In
service.
the course of a year, how many state documents do you shred?
That's a really kind of a hard question to answer.
I mean, in aggregate, we do 7,500 tons of paper a year through the entire facility.
Total,
So a portion of that would be the state of Connecticut.
yeah.
So, Governor, tell us what percentage of paperwork you anticipate when Josh is done here being able to eliminate? I mean, in the terms of, is it 50%? Is it 10%? Is it?
Can I try that one more? So I don't think we have an answer to that yet. I mean, I think there's a lot of federal regulations and others that are out there around document retention, and what you saw in that warehouse stacked in the boxes is evidence of that. And we're not anticipating a world where that goes away overnight, but we do want to provide citizens with, online tools that they expect in their banking world or their shopping world to be able to transact with the state as well. But as Stacy pointed out, I think there's data out there that shows that as new electronic media for transacting has grown over the years, that in many cases the paper has grown along with that. That's not going to be our goal, and Stacy, as you saw, is evolving her business to anticipate the new world that we're headed towards as well, focusing on digital data destruction also, which will become a growth industry over time. I know I've got a closet full of old devices that need to come to Stacy's facility here to be properly disposed of.
Yeah, that'll create another issue, because if everything is going to be digitally stored, how are you going to get rid of that after whatever? I know it's 7 years for the IRS. I don't know what it is for state. I guess state tax forms is probably 7 years too. So that's another target for you?
Absolutely. Yep.
The print journalists will be happy that Stacy pointed out that the average writer does 7 print drafts. Isn't that what you said before it comes out? I know you do that as well, guys.
Josh, as part of this, because you came from the private sector, you're running a company, when you opened up the hood of government and saying, like, why on earth do we do some things the way we do them?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's helpful for people to come in with fresh eyes, right? I know the governor has been doing this as well. And frankly, a lot of the new commissioners, as we've been working very collaboratively on a lot of these initiatives, a lot of the other commissioners come from the private sector or just come from different types of businesses. And it's always helpful to look at things with fresh eyes and have some experience about how they're done differently in the private sector, that we can adopt best practices that are battle tested out in the real world.
Governor, you shook your head very hard when I said that. Are there some things in just that you figured out with the job where you wonder, why does the state do things this way?
Government and business maybe have different missions, but you still want to do it as efficiently as you can so we can inform each other. So as Josh said, we have a number of our commissioners come out of the private sector, bringing a different world of experience here. You know, the one place where we are increasing bonding, despite our debt diet, is going to be in IT and technology. And you'll see fruits of that, not next year, but over the next 5 and 10 years, where your government will be very different. Estonia, believe it or not, who would think of it, does everything online right now. So we have a way to go.
So there's no budget savings, though, anticipated in 2020 for this switchover, is there?
If I had to make a guess, I'd say not in this current biennium, but I think you're going to see it pretty soon. As you know, Christine, we've got 20% of our workforce is retiring over the next 3, 4, 5 years. And how they are replaced, are they replaced, what type of skill sets do we need to replace them, will be a very different government.
What percentage of the state information that comes from you is confidential, or do you guys consider everything confidential?
We consider everything confidential, and
Even if it's not?
and our procedures are that you obviously don't read anything. So there, everything that we bring in, we have certifications that that we carry, and every document that leaves here leaves in shredded form, and everything is considered confidential.
Is the state your biggest customer?
Was your question based on the state, like what's coming to us from the state? It's going to be in a confidential bin. No, they're putting it in a confidential bin, so that would be their internal policy. They're not putting it in, they're putting it in a bin marked for shredding. So they would be putting confidential material in there. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Seems like a spectacular amount of confidential stuff.
Well, anything that has, there's HIPAA regulations, there's FACTA regulations, so anything that has somebody's social security number, medical information, anything has to be shredded based on federal guidelines as well. So a lot of it is mandated by the industry or the department.
Are state handwritten tax forms shredded in here?
Any tax forms that would come through the state of Connecticut that would come in through their shredding program, yeah.
And what kind of time frame does the state shred them? Do they shred them 7 years ago, 10 years ago, last week?
That's up to them. That's how they put them in the bins.
Yeah.
That's how.
We don't have any control over that.
So they just send it to you and you shred it? You don't ask
They're on
them?
a set schedule, and we go there and we swap bins and we bring them here for processing. So, customers do not want to risk. There's a lot of companies out there, and I'm not referring to the state, I'm saying companies in general that run a confidential waste program and a recycling program. And so what you're leaving it up to now is the end user that's putting the piece of paper in the bin. this could happen. So what we're finding is a lot of agencies, a lot of companies, what they're doing is they have everything go into a confidential waste program so that it's not up to the end user as to what receptacle it goes into, the trash bin or the shredding bin.
And
is what we're finding.
is the state your biggest customer?
No, we have
No?
other private, yeah.